Whether we're in school face to face or whether we're in remote learning right now, like we are with COVID-19 and this global pandemic, one of the pieces that is extremely important for me as I think about what our students and teachers are going through in this new type of learning for many of them is how are they doing from a social and emotional learning standpoint? I know that when I was a teacher and principal, just being able to quickly see my students each morning, give them a high five, a fist bump, look them in the eyes, see their smile, tells me a lot about how are they feeling, what are they thinking, what kind of day is it going to be for them. And then, of course, investing in those relationships beyond just some of those initial things. And when we moved into this new remote learning opportunity, we have the opportunity to really not make those connections as easily as when we are face to face. And so, one of the things that I've really been talking with teachers and leaders as I meet with them is how are we intentionally still building relationships with our students? It's really easy when we have a camera and a computer separating us from our students to not take the extra steps and to really invest in those relationships and make sure that our kids are doing okay. And I've been so pleased to see across social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the ways in which teachers are making sure that our kids' social emotional learning needs are met. They're taking the time to make sure that we're connecting with one another first. And the idea of Maslow's before blooms come to mind. And so one of the things I wanted to share with you today actually came from Mrs. Rebecca Hacker. She is a fourth grade teacher in Huntington, Indiana, and happens to be my son's fourth grade teacher. And I asked permission before I shared this with you today. But this is a quick form she uses for remote learning, where each morning students kind of come in as their morning agenda to really fill out this quick form for her to quickly assess how are they feeling for the day. And so they just sign in. How did they sleep last night? How was your breakfast or your lunch, depending on what time they're doing the remote learning? She also built in the zone of regulation, so it kind of gives kids some words to describe their feelings. And then ask them to quickly check box, which zone are you in right now? And what does that look like? And this is something that they also use in her classroom as well as the school, so it's very familiar with the students. List 3 people or things that you're grateful for the day. What's a goal that you have? And what's a low and a high from yesterday? And so Mrs. Hacker is quickly able to get this information from her students, and then she can quickly assess it, just like we would assess them if we saw them come into our classrooms or they walk into our schools, and kind of get an idea about how are they feeling, how are they doing? Is there something there that I need to do? So Mrs. Hacker could then set up a Zoom one-on-one. She could drop an email to one of the parents, make a phone call, so she gets this baseline tier 1 information around how our students are doing, and then has the opportunity to then further have those connections and dig a little deeper. The other thing that she does at each week then is sets up a Zoom meeting. And so Carson, my son, was able to participate in a Zoom meeting at 7 o'clock on Wednesday evenings. And each week it's just a time for them to get together as a class for the students that are able and spend some time just having fun. Playing games, whether it's through Quizlet or other games that Mrs. Hacker creates for them to do via Zoom. And so as we think about this time, yes, the academics, I think lots of folks are worried about that, but we need to make sure that our students are feeling safe and secure, that they know we care, that we're reaching out and we're making those connections. Because when we come back in person, whether that's in a few months when we start the year or if we have a delayed start, when we're back face to face, this is what's going to matter. How did we create the relationships with our students during this time so that we can continue to build and help students be successful when they come back to our schools in 8 weeks, 12 weeks, however many weeks it takes for them to be able to come back in that setting. So this was just something that was weighing on my mind quite a bit the last few days. And so thank you to the teachers and the parents and the educators who are working to really make sure that the relationships for our students, whether it's with teachers or whether they're collaborating with their peers, is staying intact. And thanks, Mrs. Hacker, for showing us a way that we can collect some information about our students and keep the SEL needs at the forefront. Have a great day.